Hello, welcome to A President's Message with Alan Strange, who is retiring this year from State Fair Community College. Alan, it's really good to see you. Thank you for joining me today for a conversation.
Well, thank you, and it's good to see you too.
We had planned to honor you at our spring retirement and recognition dinner, but the COVID pandemic just has been harmful to all of our events. So not only to people, but to the ways that we wanted to get together. But today we're going to talk a little about some of the memorable moments you've had at the college. Before we went on the record here, you were telling me you started back at State Fair Community College actually as a student. Tell me about that.
I went through the VOTEC program is what they called it back then, and had Jerry Evans as my instructor. He was a very good instructor to have back then. My dad had been a welder, and then Jerry just kind of came in and picked up and reaffirmed everything my dad had told me when I was younger, and we had a very good friendship, I would say, through the years since then.
And then you went on after that and actually worked as a welder?
Yes.
And kind of tell me about that, and then you came and taught some adjunct classes for us.
Right. I worked with my dad for years in a local welding shop here in Sedalia. My brother's still running that local welding shop. And over the years, we have hired many students out of the welding program from State Fair. We run it was a fabrication shop. And then in the 90s, Jerry Evans come to me and wanted me to start teaching actually some workforce training type classes is where it started out at. And then from there, I started adjunct teaching back then for 3 or 4 years. And then I stopped and then came back and started adjuncting again around 2004.
So over that many years and when you were taught, I know welding is a skill that the skill itself may not change, but equipment and some other things surely have over that time. What's one of the biggest changes you've noticed or seen during your career?
Yeah, I can remember the welding lab back, in the 80s, early 80s. The machines were huge. I call them dinosaurs compared to what we have now. Everything was big and huge and made with copper. Now we have computer boards and inverter style machines, and some of the processes have changed and improved, and stability of the arc when you weld has gotten better. But the one big thing I would say for the students, I tell them these new machines make it easier to learn how to weld. I mean, it really makes it very user friendly.
I understand you have some women in our welding program, and over the years, I don't know if that has kind of just stayed steady with the 1 or 2, or if more non-traditional students have gone into the program.
There seems to be more. It used to be once in a while you had 1 in a class. It seems like now we have 2, 3, sometimes 4 in a class. But that is something American Welding Society has been trying to do for a long time, is increase the amount of women in that workforce. Only 5% of the welders in the United States are women. And they would like to see that number increase, non-traditional, as you said, as well.
Well, welding seems to be both artistic and functional. And so, and in some cases, it does take strength because if you're out there in the shop, I've seen some of the heavy things you're lifting. But in some cases, you know, having that artistic ability, whether you're male or female, is very helpful.
That's true. Um, that is something that has really kind of evolved more and more out of welding is the art side of welding. You know, a lot of, to use their term, a lot of them like to use that media to build things and make artwork. So yeah, that's really came along in welding too over the years.
So what's the thing that you're kind of most proud of what has happened while you've been at State Fair Community College as an instructor?
Um, well, you know, probably the greatest satisfaction is when you talk to a student um, that you had, like I know one from, oh, you know, I had him like '04, '05, '06, and knew there was a job, and he went to work there. You know, and just a couple years ago, we went and toured DeLong's here in town, and he's still working there at DeLong's. I mean, those are the stories that make you feel like you know you did a good job, that you helped somebody get a job, get a career. You know, those are the most memorable.
You know, there was a time when career and technical education, and we used to call it, yes, VOTEC, you know, was not the thing to go into. But because of the lack of skilled workforce today, not only in our community, but nationwide, the career and technical trades have made a comeback, as they should. And so you are training students for jobs that are going to pay really well too.
Right. Yeah, you're, you know, and there's just the shortage. I mean, of workforce of welders, you know, machinists, mechanics. I mean, and yes, um, it's good. You know, it's nice to know that you're helping um, teach them something that they can do to earn a living for the rest of their life.
Well, do you have any plans for retirement? I know Melinda works for us as well. Your wife does. And so I don't know if she's got a list of things for you, or kind of what the two of you have planned.
I don't really have much planned right now. Probably just work on some projects that I have around the house, you know, is the main, you know, the main focus anyway that I can think of.
Well, Alan, you've been instrumental. You know, we're designing and getting ready to break ground on a Workforce Innovation Center, the Olin Howard Workforce Innovation Center. You've been instrumental in helping design what that welding lab might look like, and maybe, you know, you'll obviously not be instructing in it per se, but come back and enjoy that, hopefully, when it gets constructed. And we thank you. That's surely been at least a little interesting in helping design that.
It is. You know, it's exciting for the welding program and the machining to get a new facility like that, to get, you know, revamped into, you know, a new facility. I think it'll help spark interest, you know, further in those fields in our area as well. But yeah, I'm excited, you know, for the school and the students as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we're doing it, to help drive student demand and meet the needs, and be able to increase capacity, because I know many times you have not had enough capacity to train all of the students who needed it, especially those workforce classes that needed to come in. You've just squeezed them in the summertime.
Yes, yeah, you're right. We are full on capacity, that's for sure.
Well, Alan, I'm not going to ask you how many hours a day you spend with our students, but I know it is a tremendous amount. People probably don't realize that in our career and technical areas, classes start in the morning and then often don't complete until way into the evening to get all of those courses taught with the different groups. But we really, really appreciate your dedication, your service, and we're happy for you that you know, retirement is a possibility. We all think we're going to get there someday.
Yeah. Well, thank you. But yeah. And then when you're here, when it's here, you're like, okay, what am I doing now?
Exactly. Yes. Well, I imagine there's some people that will think of things to put on your plate.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you, Ellen, for your service. Thank you for this interview. And we do wish that we would get to celebrate with you at some future time when we can all be together in person and really congratulate you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.